Hello, everyone, and welcome to Native Drums. I'm Josilia Williams, your host for this evening, and I have here with me our special guest because we are celebrating Women's Month on this month, the month of March. And so on Native Drums, we will be featuring women in business, women in medicine, women in politics, women of the community. So today we have with us Dr. Hillery Dolford. And Dr. Dolford, she has a ministry, as well as she's a doctor of
nursing.
Nursing. Thank you. Welcome to Native Drums, Dr. Hillery.
Thank you, Josilia. Thank you for such a warm welcome.
Oh, it's our pleasure to have you here with us today. Dr. Hillery, I call her Dr. Hillery, and I think everyone else does.
Everybody does, yes, ma'am.
She is a native of Florence. She grew up here in Florence. So tell us about, give us some background information on Dr. Hillery.
Okay, so I am Dr. Hillery Dolford. I am a family nurse practitioner, and I have a doctorate in nursing. So my specialty is diabetic foot care and wound care. They kind of go hand in hand. But I was born and raised here, right out of North Florence, a proud Wilson graduate. And so went off to the University of South Carolina and came back and decided to do all of my work here. The biggest thing that ties me here, of course, is Sweet Feet. That's my medical spa where I provide diabetic foot care. And of course, my church, Morning Star Ministries. I love worshiping there, and so that has allowed me to be in the area and here for my community.
Oh, great. We're so glad that you decided to stay, to remain here in Florence and in the PD, because diabetes has a stronghold.
It does
on some of us, and I personally, Cash gonna get me for hitting on this microphone. He says, "Yeah, I am. I have a personal testimony when it comes to diabetes. I'm type 2, and my father had diabetes. His sister had diabetes, had amputations. So you can safely say that diabetes maybe runs in is it a genetic thing or?
Well, kind of, sort of. It runs in the family in the sense of we have the same family habits. So, we eat a special diet. I don't know if it's special or non-specialized, but, we live in the stroke and the diabetes belt, these states in the southern region, and they say that the South Carolina is the buckle of that belt.
Really? Oh my goodness.
Meaning that we are leading in stroke and we're leading in diabetes. Now, when you ask the question about diabetes and genetics, there is a small genetic tendency for type 2 diabetes, but the habits, the behaviors, the foods that we eat, the inactivity is really what we inherit that cause us to have type 2 diabetes. It occurs as we gain more weight over the years. Larger abdomen set us up for a metabolic syndrome and thus in turn cause us to have type 2 diabetes.
Oh, now no one has ever told me that. Thank you for that info, because I have enlarged.
We're growing in grace.
Growing in grace, yes, growing in grace. Yeah, so as I was sitting here, I was thinking my brother has it as well, and he's type 1.
Okay. Now, type 1 is a difference. Type 1 is diagnosed usually as a juvenile in childhood, most type 1s.
Okay.
So you will have people that are insulin dependent. Type 1s are insulin dependent as well. But usually people are type 2 diabetic, and then over time they no longer produce insulin and they become insulin dependent. That's a
Okay.
little bit different than type 1 or juvenile diabetes. Juvenile diabetes is diagnosed in childhood, 5, 6.
Wow.
We even have some infants. And they believe that a virus attacked the pancreas.
Okay.
And so the child no longer makes any insulin. So they are insulin dependent or type 1 diabetics. Now, in theory, all type 2 diabetics will become insulin dependent over the course of the disease. There's a study that shows when you are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, your pancreas is at 50% of islet cells. Islet cells or islet cells, some people say it that way. Islet cells are the cells that helps the pancreas to produce insulin. They believe when you're diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, you're at 50% of those cells already being gone.
Oh,
So eventually, the pancreas will no longer make insulin and thus make you insulin dependent.
Well, let me ask you this. Can type 2 be reversed?
It can be reversed. The book says there's no cure, but we as believers know that God can heal anything.
Yeah.
But it can be reversed. If patients, when they see their A1C, glycosylated hemoglobin is the test that they do every 90 days.
Right.
That tells what the sugar is doing every hour of the day for 90 days. When you first start to see an elevation in the A1C, if you can get on it right then, your chances of eradicating it is the largest at that point. If you can drop a few pounds, change the diet, add the exercise, sugary drinks. I can't stress that enough. When we eat food, if we eat a slice of pie,
Right.
that food has to digest through the stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and go into the bloodstream. Well, when you drink a sugary drink, there's no digestion time. So that goes straight from the stomach to the small intestine into the bloodstream almost immediately.
Oh, okay.
So I tell my diabetics, if they can, don't drink any sugary drinks. Try to stick to waters, unsweetened coffees and teas, things of that nature.
Oh, what about these zero sugar sodas?
Well, the zero sugar drinks don't spike the blood sugar when you consume it, but that sweet taste on the palate, the brain still thinks I'm having sugar, and so there is some marginal amount of insulin spike. So water is best.
Water is best. Water is best. I try to drink water as much as I can. But there's something about that zero sugar Coca-Cola. I had to stop drinking it because it seems like it's addictive.
They are addictive. They are, because you get addicted to that sugar. You get addicted to that caffeine. So I feel you on that. I'm not diabetic, but I've tried to give them up.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to do the right thing. I'll put it that way. I'll put it that way.
And it's a work in progress. If you're intentional, small steps make things a whole lot better. When you see your A1C is constantly creeping up, it's time to start making a change then. When your A1C is up, you need to make sure every 90 days your provider is checking that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Mine was 7.1 last time. So
Okay.
From 8, it went down to 7. So
Okay,
But
okay.
I thank God for that.
Keep going down.
Keep going
That's
down.
good.
Keep
That's
moving
good.
down. Now, you worked at the wound care center at one time.
I did.
Let's
So,
talk about that.
my story is short. I started at McLeod as a CNA. I used to wait tables
Okay.
at IHOP when I was waiting to get into nursing school, and waited on this couple, and the lady was a director of nursing at McLeod. And when she found out I was going to go to nursing school, she said I would hire you.
Wow.
So she hired me as a CNA, and then she allowed me to sit with patients so that I could study. She gave me the opportunity to round with the supervisor of the house. So I was able to see deaths and births and code blues, all of the exciting things of nursing. Well, one of the other things I got to do was to follow the wound care nurse.
Okay.
She needed a CNA to help position patients and fetch dressings. So I was allowed to do that. So that's where I kind of first got my start with wound care. So worked on our unit for 5 years. The wound care team recruited me officially, and I worked with them for several years, doing inpatient wound care like bed sores, surgical wounds that wouldn't heal, etc. Went back to nurse practitioner school, and the VP found out that I was going to advance my degree. So she made a position for me in the outpatient wound center at McLeod.
God.
God, the hand of the Lord. So I worked in the outpatient wound center at McLeod. And the majority of those wounds, it was bed sores and surgical wounds that wouldn't heal, but the majority was diabetic foot ulcers, venous leg ulcers. So every day I was looking at people's legs and feet and seeing a common problem. There was not a lot of foot care out there.
Okay.
So I actually implemented like a diabetic foot clinic in the wound center. So in the course of that time, I decided to work on my doctorate. I was actually in the inaugural cohort of doctoral nurses at Francis Marion.
Oh, okay.
And so we were challenged with let your quality improvement project be something that helps the PD. So immediately I knew, let's do diabetic limb salvage through just foot care. So during the length of that study lasted about a year. All of the participants that were diabetic, poor blood circulation, prior diabetic foot ulcers, we ended up with no amputations during that study.
Oh, wow.
So I knew that was a needed work in our area. So I continued doing the diabetic foot clinic, but insurance reimbursement was poor. So they got on to me about that and was like, I'm not certain if we can continue this in the wound center. So I just kind of, out of disgust, said, I'm going to open a diabetic foot spa. Not even knowing what I was saying, but said that I was going to do that, and the Lord has allowed it to come to pass.
Isn't that something? It's really something how different situations can be birthed out of whether it's negative or positive.
That's true. That's true.
So because that was my next question, as what inspired you, motivated you to.
So that was it.
So that was some strong motivation, wasn't it?
Just seeing, even now, I have people come in on walkers that walk out unassisted.
Oh, wow.
Because the foot care makes so much of a difference in their lives.
Yes.
I believe it's Christ's example. Christ washed the disciples' feet. And so it is an honor to sit at people's feet. The feet are vulnerable. People sometimes are embarrassed of the situation that they were in. They don't want people to see. A lot of time men are like, I'm too macho to have my feet done. But I enjoy getting in there, sitting at their feet and listening to the whole story. You don't just come in for a pedicure and polish.
Right.
We gather a history on you. I have a chart on every patient. I look at medications, and then I compare that to the patient to make sure everything is being taken care of. We found cancer there. I found a malignant melanoma on a couple of patients. Found a lot of poor blood circulation. I work closely with one of the vascular surgeons, so I can call him. If somebody comes in and we don't have adequate blood flow, I call him.
Right.
He sees them that day, if not the next. And, time is a limb when it comes to diabetes.
Yes, yes. I tell you, the atmosphere, the atmosphere at Sweet Feet is like none other.
Thank you so much.
It is. It is. Whenever you go there, and yes, I do go to Sweet Feet. Endorsement. But when you go there, it's just the atmosphere. It's jovial. It's happy. It's uplifting, and you can just when you leave if you can come in dry, in doldrum land, but when you leave, you've either had a good laugh or something uplifting has taken place.
Yeah.
And especially with the gospel music playing continuously, and it's just a wonderful atmosphere, Hillery.
So that has been my earnest prayer. I always ask the Lord, when I extend my hand, I want them to feel your love, the love of God. And so a lady was there this week, and she was like, this atmosphere is so different.
It is.
And, I told her, I'm an avid worshiper of Christ. I attend Morning Star Ministries where my pastors are Apostle and Prophetess Johnson. And all of that good teaching that they put into us as the saints, it flows over into our work everywhere we go.
And that's what it's supposed to do.
I attribute that to all of that good teaching that I've had and have experienced over the years.
Wonderful. Well, speaking of ministry, you are at your church. You're over the women?
No, so my pastor's
work?
wife, Prophetess Johnson, she has a dynamic women's ministry. And I'm just fortunate enough to assist her with it. So her ministry is Women of Joy. And the Lord has given her a vision to reach women everywhere. So every month we have a women's meeting that's beyond the wall. We go from county to county, city to city. She's been in North Carolina, Hartsville, Lake City, Bishopville. But it is a ministry that's geared to uplift women. And the Lord even gave her the name of it, Name Her Joy. So we are called Women of Joy, and it is a service like none other.
Wow.
I'm so glad to be a woman. But, Prophetess Johnson works in the fivefold ministry. She can preach and teach, lay hands, work miracles, and so I love that.
It sounds wonderful. And how often you said the women meet?
Once a month.
Once a month.
Yes, it's usually the first Saturday of every month, and we're all around.
And I was about to say in different areas.
Yep, county to county.
So how can they find out that you're in their particular area?
So it's on our website, Morningstar Ministries, Darlington.org. And every month it's updated where we'll be. You can even follow on the Morningstar Ministries Facebook page. I share it on my Facebook page.
I was about to say.
My handle.
Sweet Feet Facebook?
I don't share it on Sweet Feet, but the flyers are in Sweet Feet.
Okay, good.
But my page, the handle is Hillery Dolford. And we share little excerpts. We share little snippets of what has happened.
Okay, yeah, that's how I saw it on Facebook, and I saw, Hillary has a women's ministry, so I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, I'm a very strong believer and part of Women of Joy.
Amen. Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Now, let's go back to the business aspect. Of what advice would you give to a young woman who has an idea, who needs to plant a seed when it comes to developing or creating her business? What type of advice would you give to her?
Two things. Know your why. Know your purpose. A lot of, even like when they find out you're a nurse, she's a nurse for the money. There is no dollar amount that they can pay for the service you provide as a nurse or a provider. So number one, know your why. Remember, my why was I saw the need. I saw people's toenails literally growing into their toes. People in pain. Nobody to provide the care. Again, insurance reimbursement is poor to none for foot care. And because of that, a lot of providers won't do the service. And so my why is I want to give people what insurance won't cover. So why? And mentorship. You need a positive voice in your ear. You can't look around and say, well, there's 5 of those type of businesses already. I shouldn't do that. That's not the reason not to do it. Who you are and what you're able to offer is the why you should do. And having that positive mentorship. I remember when I was in nursing school and struggling, finances were poor, my husband was the only one working, I decided to drop out. So the Honda plant, this was back in 2000. I heard that the Honda plant had come to Florence or Timminsville, and I was going to go get me a job and help my husband out. And I was sitting there in the lobby waiting for an interview. And one of the young men from church came up to me and brought me his phone. And I said, who's on the phone? He said, Pastor Johnson.
Uh-oh.
So I picked up the phone and I said, hey, Pastor Johnson. He said, what you doing, Sister Dolford? And I said, I'm going to get a job. He stopped me right there. He said, the Lord has called you to be a nurse, and that's what you're going to do. I appreciate that mentorship because I think about, I could have given up. I could have delayed the path that the Lord had for me, if not aborted it. But that positive word helped me make it, helped me to hold on. Now, a lot of people will give you positive words. Oh, you're going to make it, you're going to be better. But they don't always provide that support to make sure you make it. So not only did my pastor say, pursue that dream, finish nursing school, his wife stepped up and said, here is a car for you to get back and forth to school.
Oh, my goodness.
You don't owe us a dime. All we want to see is you make it. Now, how many times have you heard of that? So mentorship and people that truly support you goes beyond anything.
Yes. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, you mentioned a word that you used, abort. People, do you think people realize that they can abort or hinder what God has for them?
You can. You absolutely can. Sometimes we become so preoccupied with life and the cares of the life, the words of Christ are choked out of our hearing and our heart. And so
choked out.
Choked out. And that's what the scripture says. It'll choke it out.
Yes.
So that's why it's so important that we, as the saints and people of God, stay in tune to the voice of God and have someone that can speak that voice of God, because we can't always hear, but there are messengers that God sets up that gives us those words. So if that word hadn't come through my bishop, I know for sure I would have aborted that dream.
So how, one discussion leads to the other. How do you know when this is the person? This is the one that you are to listen to? Because sometimes people have so many different ones in their ears. So how do you know that this is the person that I'm supposed to be?
So you look at what the Word of God says.
Okay.
Bitter and sweet can't come from the same fountain.
Right.
Number one. Number two, a tree is known by the fruit that it bears. So when you see the fruit of an individual's life and you see that advancement in their life, remember, iron sharpens iron.
Yes.
And so if you want to go higher, you have to be with those that are already elevated. So when you're able to see that, you know, this is God's voice, and this is who God is using.
Good. Oh, this has been really awesome and enlightening, and we appreciate you spending time here with us. Yes.
Such a pleasure.
And you have such a genuine spirit, and that's vital and important in society today. There's so much, how do I say it? That fake situation.
That's true. That's true.
But to know that you have someone who's genuine, that can speak to life.
That's it.
And to know
that's correct. And that's what I want, the atmosphere in my spa. I said, Lord, let people get here what they can't get outside in the world. And so that's why we just share the love of Christ. We laugh.
Yes, you do.
We drink good coffee.
Yes, you do.
Watch good movies. You know,
that's right.
It's an experience. It really is an experience.
Yeah.
And for me, it doesn't feel like work. I feel like I'm visiting friends every day.
That's the way it should be, an enjoyable situation when you work. And I often tell Hillary she needs to have a reality show.
We should get cameras in there.
Yes, share this with the world, because that good spirit can go through that camera.
Yes, it can.
And bless someone, I'm sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you ever so much for coming and sharing with us again,
Absolutely.
Hillary. Yes, and your door swing open, come back again anytime, any type of situation you may have, an event or what have you. Just come and talk about it, okay?
Okay.
All
I
right.
sure will.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Oh, our pleasure. You have been watching and sharing with us on Native Drums on today, and we thank Dr. Hillary for being here with us. On next week or in the following weeks, we will be featuring women in politics, women in the community. So make sure you tune in to Native Drums. Thank you for ever viewing, and I'll see you next week.